Hello again YouTube, welcome back to Richmond. A very special video for you today. We have reached the 500 subscriber mark. So this video is a very special video just to commemorate that. And before I go any further, I'd like to give a massive thank you to those 500 people, more than 500 now, those people that have supported the channel and that have subscribed to the channel, and those of you that have been here since the start. And look how far we've come. We have some news for you on this video, a little bit of an update. We've been doing some stuff on the layout and a little bit of plans for the future, so stay tuned and let's get cracking. So where to begin for this video? We'll start just in front of us here with those two beautiful Hornby six-wheel coaches. You may recall a video I did a week or so ago on the first six-wheel coach that I bought, which is the brake van, which is coupled directly behind the J72. I was so impressed with them I had to order another one. Unfortunately, the second one I've ordered, which is the all first, has an issue with the reed switch that operates the lights via the magnet. It doesn't come on properly and doesn't switch off properly. I guess there's an issue with the reed switch sticking. So that unfortunately has to go back to the shop I bought it from and they will replace it. Second off, you will know that I've been restoring and updating the station, and you can see it there in all its glory. We have the train shed roof and the actual station building roofs finished, covered in new slates, and it does bring the model slap bang, kicking and screaming into the 21st century. Considering this model is now in its 46th year, I don't think it's doing too badly. I have other updates planned for the station which will appear soon during the course of the year, so stay tuned for those. Thirdly, you'll notice that the goods shed has gone. I pulled that up from the layout a couple of weeks ago and have since sold it on, so it should now be with its new owner and gracing their layout. And the white paper you see on the layout on the baseboard there is the outline of the new goods shed, which is being built by my master scratch builder. So that should hopefully be ready in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And we've just laid the outline of the goods shed onto the layout just to check for clearances and see how it all goes together. Then we just tilt the camera this and move the camera this way. You'll see two sidings disappearing off to the edge of the baseboard there. They are my new goods yard sidings. So one has the coal drops, the other one will have the loading dock on it. And then you'll see a third siding just there, which is the siding through the aforementioned goods shed, which, as you can see there, curves around the front of the station forecourt. Now just beyond that, just where my finger is pointing there is the new baseboard that I assembled on video a couple of weeks ago. And then just here is the second new baseboard that I built a couple of days later off camera. And I've built it with a cutout just to represent the drop in ground level for the coal drops. Now on the real Richmond, there were two long rows of coal cells next to each other. I don't have the heart to take this baseboard to pieces and add in a drop section. It's a lot of work. So what I'm doing, I'm just making a representation there of the coal drops, and we'll show those in just a moment. So down at this end of the layout, this is what we call the start of the layout, I suppose. So we've built that board there previously on video. This board is just a mishmash of various pieces of plywood that I had left over and topped with the 8/9mm cork tiles. Now we haven't fixed these in place yet. These are just here just to represent the coal drops. So this is about the final place for the coal drops to be. So we're going to build them in, and there'll be a buffer stop or something there, and we're just building a bit of an embankment sort of round there, and then, you know, fill in the gaps. We have some photos in a couple of books. They don't really show much in the goods yard, sadly, so a lot of it is guesswork, and obviously the guesswork has to be compressed and compromised just for the fact that the coal drops aren't as big as they should be, although we could represent the longer coal drops here by having shorter ones, sort of shallower ones, but I don't think it'd look right. And I spent a lot of time building this coal drop, and I think it looks quite good, so we'll keep that as is. And this track here isn't the final resting place for it, but this track that curves around here is pretty much in the right place. And it sort of curves around the front of the station forecourt, which will be made up to the right height. And there was a loading dock there at some point. I don't know if it was replaced by a wall in later days, but there was certainly a wall here, and that there would be sort of set of buffer stops there. Just here, I did think there'd be a road going down there off past what was the station master's house, but looking at photos and aerial maps and stuff, there was sort of bushes and trees and shrubs on this bit here. So we'll put that in, and then the road off towards Catterick and Richmond town will sort of, from the station exit, will go off that way and then up towards Richmond over the river. It would have been nice to have been able to model the river, but that would have been sort of off camera, off the baseboard down here, and then winding its way along that edge of the layout. But what will happen is this will be the end of the layout, and there'll be a back scene sort of 12 inches high there, and that'll go down to the corner there, and we'll probably round it off a bit. Then along that side, and then there'll be the bus garage represented in very low relief there, and it will continue around with sort of hillside, countryside sort of back scene all the way around the layout to the scenic break. In other news, I sadly damaged my turntable while I was installing the DCC point motors. Let's move that. I banged my head on the motor, which is directly underneath the pivot on the underneath the deck, or underneath the well, sorry, and as a result it snapped the pin, the plastic pin that connects the motor to the deck. Now, thankfully, a kind colleague on Facebook, one of the model rail groups, has come to my aid and sent me a complete turntable kit. It's been previously assembled, so it's got things that need doing, but the main thing is it has this piece and the deck already assembled. So all I need to do is just take this out and disconnect the motor and just drop the new deck straight on. What I'm going to do before I do it is paint it, and weather it a little bit, just make it look a little bit unloved. And then I've got some handrails to fit to the turntable deck, because the Pico handrails unfortunately didn't survive. I wanted to change them over from the old deck to the new one, but they didn't survive. They were very, very difficult to remove. So what I'm doing, I've bought some wheels, I think the wheels or ratio handrails and handrail stanchions in a kit. So they will be assembled and glued to the turntable deck. I suspect I'll have to drill some holes in the deck to take them. Also, if we're just over this end, you'll see that my platform now has a surface. So we've used scale scenes paper and mounting board to make this. It's not perfect. There's a couple of bits that just need finishing off. I haven't glued it down yet because I want to fit some lights. And if I just move around here, I can show you the lights that I'm fitting. So we have some lights from Layouts For You. They're a little on the large side. They're a bit tall. I mean, they're supposed to be 00 scale, but they are quite tall. I may be able to modify them, or I may speak to Layouts For You and ask if they can make some that are a bit shorter. You'll see that they have like a ring with the lamp hanging from the top of the ring. That is prototypical for Richmond, although with the real Richmond, the posts were concrete and not metal. However, that's close enough, and they will be fitted in due course. Also, found in a box a couple of days ago the remains of my platform starting signal. You remember this graced the end of the platform. Unfortunately, my son damaged it while the station board was in my spare room while I was insulating the garage. But I have some plastic card and some bits and pieces that I can fix it with, and it's not going to be the finished signal, but as long as I can put it in place and have a representation, then I'll be happier with that. Now, the big news for the layout, if I just swivel the camera around, you'll see there's a gap here between the fiddle yard and the scenic boards. Now, my wife, bless her, mentioned yesterday while she was in here that I should extend the fill yard through 90 degrees across to there, and not have it connected up with the scenic board, but have the fill yard stop there. So this distance here between the two boards is around 4 feet. Now I think I can get away with extending the fill yard through a 90-degree bend. And if we just pan around to the fill yard, there you go. What I'm planning to do is, just move that out of the way. The join in the boards is just there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this point out, and all the other points for the fill yard are just on this board here. So we're going to move this board and turn it round through 90 degrees to connect up with the rest of the layout. And I say connect up, it's just going to be physically connected with a couple of bolts and wing nuts just to hold it all steady. We'll get a couple more IKEA trestles, and then this board will be moved that way, and we'll build, let me just pan around, a new board just in this corner here, about 3 or 4 feet long, and then we can ease that curve, which is about the tightest curve in the layout at the moment. And it means, because we're moving that double slip down by 4 feet, we can add another 4 feet of scenery. So I can then realise my ambition of building the River Swale Viaduct, which I wanted to build in the first place, but it turns out obviously I didn't have enough room, because the station site ended up being a bit bigger than I thought due to the curvature of the boards and stuff. So what we'll be doing is we'll be keeping the diode matrix that I built in this control box here, the control panel, and all that happened is this will just be moved down, and we can split that board, and all the points by that one are on this board, so we don't have to alter this at all, apart from reposition that point and probably put a curve point in there just to reflect that the fiddly yard curves round. That will be something to be done later in the year. I'm not going to do that immediately. It just means that I can't start on any scenery sort of past that buffer stop, which is fine, because I can ballast up to where that tape measure is, or where those wagons are, and then stop, which means I can concentrate on getting the scenery done on the station. So if we just pan back round and give you a nice view of all my tools and my son's bike and various car parts, we've got to the stage now where we're testing the track, we're testing the points, we're correcting any sort of little snagging any faults and fixing them. You'll also see at the moment there's no track going to the turntable. That's because of this new board that we put in a couple of weeks ago. So this track isn't the one that's going in. Let me just show you what I'm planning to do. So the track will go from this point here, and it'll sort of curve around a little bit and meet with the turntable there. So we need to build a sort of fillet piece for the baseboard there, just to give a bit of something for the track to sit on. The same goes for this corner here, where you see the track is right at the edge of the board. I don't really like that, so we'll just join build a filler piece there, just to move the track away from the edge. And then, like I say, once the goods shed is here, and then I can sort of finalise the size of the goods shed, the goods yard, and the final position of the sidings. And then we can start ballasting and adding scenery and the loading crane, like cattle dock, and various items for the loco shed. Now, one thing I was toying with, I was thinking about starting a Patreon for this layout. Unfortunately, I find myself not quite able financially to purchase buildings and have stuff scratch built for the layout. I am currently on the sick from work at the moment, sadly, as I'm suffering from tennis elbow, and we're all in the same position with COVID and everything. We were out of work, we're not earning as much as we could. But I thought if I started a Patreon, and if you want to join it, that's your choice. I would appreciate it if you did. And the plan was that any videos I make will be put on Patreon a day or two before they're uploaded to YouTube, and any photos I take will be uploaded there first before they're uploaded to the Facebook page or before they're uploaded to any of the groups that I am a member of on Facebook, just to give those people that have donated via Patreon, first dibs on an early access to any content that I make for the layout, in recognition of the fact that they've donated. I haven't done anything yet, but if you would like, if you like the idea of me starting a Patreon, and if you would donate to it to help me fund purchases of buildings and stuff for the layout, then please, leave a comment on this video. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. If you think it's a bad idea, then please tell me. I won't be offended by it. But if you think it's a good idea, then that'd be brilliant. I'll take any feedback on board, positive or negative. But if you don't tell me, then I don't know. So please leave a comment on whether you think the Patreon idea is a good one or not, and if you would support it. I think the minimum tier you can have to donate on Patreon is £3 or $3. If you're happy to donate that, then that'd be fantastic. But like I say, leave me your feedback in your comments, and we'll take it from there. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Right, so I want to do something special, really special for 500 subscribers, but I find that at the moment I haven't got anything really special to show you, other than the big plan for the fiddle yard and what's been going on with the layout in the last week or so, beyond stuff I've already shown you. I hope that in the next 6 months or 12 months I can double this to 1,000 subscribers. That is my goal for the channel. I'm not doing this to scratch my ego. I'm doing this to share my layout with you. And I'm not a massive, serious, hardcore modeler. I've only ever built a couple of layouts in my time, and this is the only one that I've been really, really passionate about. And I really want to get this layout just right. Now I understand that building a layout based on a real location is all about compromise, and like we've already seen there with the goods yard sidings. There should be 3 sidings there, not 2, and there should also be coal drops behind the loco shed. They're not going to happen because I haven't got the space for it, which is the compromise. But I want to make this layout as operationally sort of accurate as I can, and your continued support of the channel is giving me sort of inspiration to do that. So please, like I say, comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.